Hey gang, I'm standing out here outside of world famous Panama Hattie's. Everybody on the beach is getting their places all buttoned up. If you look right across the street, Fire Rescue, they've got things all set up over there. The Beach PD and Beach Public Works, they've got the beaches all closed here, all the parking lots. You can see some of the work trucks sitting over there. On the other side of the hotel, they've got some heavy equipment moving around sand to block the entranceways, and if you will, the spillways from the tidal surge onto the A1A over here, and they do that all along the beach down here in the, all the way down A1A here, all the side roads that go out. So they really do a great job protecting A1A in the beach area here. All right, so we're gonna go take a little walk around, and then we're gonna drive down Anastasia Boulevard to downtown and kind of show you guys that. We're in the middle between high and low tide, so maybe we'll get a little feel for what's happening. Dorian is still quite a ways away from us, at least 24 hours at this point, okay? So come on along. Alright guys, we just came across the street in front of Antonio's Famous Pizza and Rita's Frozen Custard, and we're just going to take a walk up to the beach, okay? So I'm going to get right back with you after I get to the beach. We want to stay out of the way of them moving that dirt around because they're trying to do their best to protect the citizens and protect everything out here on Anastasia Island. So we'll stay over here to the other side where we're not in their way, okay? So I'll be right back when I get to the water. Hey, real quick as I walk by, this is one of the marine rescue stations here, St. Johns County Fire Rescue. That's Station 7 there, but this is one of the marine rescue stations. So we always want to give kudos to those guys and girls. I totally respect what they do. When I was on the job, I watched them in action. I couldn't do what they do. I'll jump out of buildings, but I will not go in the deep water like they do. They are experts at what they do, so we always want to give them kudos and say thank you for all their dedication and putting their lives at risk for us. Okay, so let me get out to the water. I'll be right back. All right, as we're walking up to the beach, and I'll try to protect the microphone as much as possible from the wind, but sometimes it's difficult, and I'll talk loud. But a lot of the businesses, of course, sandbags, got plastic and tape around their doors where water can get in. They got the pier closed, of course. They're making their final preparations because this will be a tidal event probably. If Dorian keeps moving slow like it is, it'll drop a lot of rain. And tidal surge, you know, 4 to 6 foot tidal surge. And surge and waves are different things. We'll explain that in just a minute, okay? Because when you take tidal surge and rain, what it does, it pushes water up through the ground. It's not like having giant waves. It actually is worse than that sometimes. So we got some pretty good waves out there, probably 6 to 7 foot waves, 8 foot maybe, because we're already approaching a high tide. High tide will be here in a couple hours, so it's already coming in. And the more wind you have, the less that high tide can recede to a low tide, and therefore, and then you get another cycle and rain, so you can see what can happen. So it can actually push through the ground and make water rise through the ground. So that's always a concern, almost sometimes more than the actual waves themselves. So we got a couple different things. And even if Dorian stays way offshore like it looks like it might, it's still going to be, you know, quite an event for us here in Northeast Florida. Okay, so you can see the heavy machinery they have over there. They're using that to move dirt around to different areas and stuff to try to block the access to the beach. So it helps prevent the tidal surge, I mean the wave, that sort of thing, okay? So we're getting there pretty good. I'm going to go downtown here in a minute. You guys can see what's going on in Matanzas Bay, but you can see you got some pretty good waves there, right? And they got the pier and everything. Okay, so as a matter of fact, I'll probably walk out there just a little bit for you so you can see a little better. Got a news crew over there, just kind of starting to keep everybody informed. Mike's weather page, that's one you really want to kind of pay attention to. They got really great, accurate information. He does live updates. That's Mike's weather page. You can find him on Facebook. Okay. Let me go down there close to the water for you guys. All right, gang, you can see we're down by the water now. See the tide starting to come in. And again, you're starting to get that push off of Dorian's northwest corner. And we'll be on the, if you will, the weaker side of it. It'll be if it's further out. Our geographic location here lends itself to the hurricane staying offshore a lot more. That's why we don't really take a lot of direct stuff here. But we do get things like this, where you get the rain and you get the tidal push. Again, as that water makes its way through land, causing water levels within the land to rise, the water table to raise, and that's always a concern for flooding because then the water has no really where to go. So it's coming now. As far as high tide, you can see we're up against the pier out there. So we're all preparing. Everybody's making their last minute preparations. You really want to stay out of that water. There's a gentleman down there in the water. Not the smartest thing to be doing. He should not be in that water. We have, along the coast, we have significant rip currents. And right now, I guarantee you, I'm not a water rescue guy like I just told you, but I've seen those guys in action. I know how hard it is to get to people when they get out there. Nobody should be in the water right now. That is really, really silly. As a matter of fact, I just heard at Volano Beach up in the north end here that the crews that are trying to maintain the beach and make the beach safe and protect the beach with moving sand around, they've had to fight off gawkers and onlookers around their heavy equipment. So people, stay off the beach. Just stay out of the, or at least off the water and away from what they're trying to do to help us, okay? So anyway, let me take a little ride up Anastasia Boulevard downtown, and we're gonna give you some of that, all right? Thanks. Hey gang, on the way back from my car next to the bocce ball courts, I wanted to show you this real quick. This is called the this is a Freedom Trail marker. St. Augustine has a significant civil rights history, from different things like the wait in there, sit-ins. We had Martin Luther King stayed here quite a bit during his time as a civil rights leader, and all through St. Johns County, mostly in the south end in the beaches area, from the city of St. Augustine south, there's tons of these markers around, especially like over in Lincolnville, out on Crescent Beach. There's a house where Martin Luther King Jr. actually stayed. It's pretty cool to learn all that history here in St. Johns County, okay? So I just thought I'd give you a little something there on that as well, okay? These bocce ball courts are pretty cool to watch these guys play as well. All right, so I'm gonna get in the truck. We're gonna head down Anastasia Boulevard. All right, gang, we're actually gonna be leaving the beach. I thought I'd show you kind of what's going on over here. This is at Pope Road. They're moving sand around. Again, they do this to keep the waves from, you know, breaking over there and getting out here onto A1A as much as possible. St. Augustine Beach does a really great job, you know, protecting this area. So as you can see, we got people with businesses with their boards up, you know, in anticipation of Dorian. This is Pope Road and A1A right here, and you can see, if you look down here, you can see the heavy equipment and the big piles of sand, okay? So that's what they do at the end of all these approach roads to the beach, and we probably got a good 8 or 9 of them that head right to the beach from A1A, so there's always plenty of beach access here in St. Augustine Beach. So, and these videos that I'm doing here through the storm, it's just to give you guys a real-time knowledge of what's going on. You know, you can hear a lot of stuff on the news, and it's great information. You should always pay attention for sure. Sharon's sit home monitoring her Mike's weather page on Facebook. Hell, I couldn't get it out. But keeping current. But you always have to have a realistic look at stuff, and you always have to, you know, remain calm and just, you know, focused. And you know, these things happen. You know, California gets earthquakes and forest fires. We get hurricanes. The middle of the road, the middle of the state gets country gets tornadoes, and you know, the Northeast gets big blinding blizzards. You know, so we're pretty lucky down here, especially in St. John's, Duval, Nassau. Our geographic location lends itself to we don't get a lot of direct stuff going on. So we're going to take a ride down Anastasia Boulevard and kind of show you what folks have done there, and then give you a little look at Matanzas Bay like we did yesterday morning, because we're about 24 hours later, almost to the minute here. Okay, so let's go around here, coming off the beachside A1A, and we're going to go on to regular A1A. So I'll be right back. Okay. All right, we're cruising down Anastasia Boulevard, heading towards downtown. We're going to come up to where the lighthouse is. You can probably see it there in the distance, passing where the amphitheater is and the front entrance to Anastasia State Park. So when we get around this big corner up here, you're going to see a lot of businesses with boards up and getting ready for, you know, the wind event that may come here. Anastasia Fitness, where I go to the gym, is getting all boarded up there, if you can see that. If I don't crash us, sorry about that if you didn't see it. I was trying to shift the camera. But everybody's getting boarded up. Not taking it lightly. I know she's fairly offshore, and they predict she's going to stay quite a bit offshore. But in this area, Anastasia Island, again, every area's got its vulnerabilities, just like your house, like we talked about in that other video. Everything's got its vulnerabilities. The alligator farm, they're all kind of boarded up out front here. It's our world famous alligator farm. Everything's got its vulnerabilities, including Anastasia Island, because Anastasia Island is fairly low. Like on Davis Shores, up at the very tip at the Bridge Alliance, the average elevation there is probably right about 6 feet. Well, at a high tide, you can get water lapping up on seawalls. So on a extraordinarily high tide and wind event of a hurricane pushing water into Matanzas Bay there, it can, you know, be disconcerting. There's more boards on these retail spaces. So again, we're just prepared. Now it's just a waiting game. It gets a little frustrating after a while. It's like, oh, come on, let's get this thing done. So she's sitting out there over Freeport right now in the Bahamas, and our hearts go out to those folks. They have been getting pounded for, shoot, what, 36 hours now? It's crazy. So we will keep moving forward, but it can be very frustrating. I mean, we've got our house to the point where, you know, it's ready. We've got a couple other things to deploy if we need to, but other than that, it's just kind of a waiting game. So in our area, in our house, you know, water's an issue too, rising water because of tidal push. You know, you got your waves cresting over and coming up and tearing up dunes and beaches and eroding it, but then you have that water as the hurricane pushes that tide, it also pushes it through the land, and then you get rain on top of it, which allows that water to rise, the groundwater. So the top water, the rainwater can't go anywhere, and that's where you get your flooding. You know, especially in these low-lying areas and stuff. So we're going to take a little ride over the Bridge of Lions, park downtown, maybe if we find a spot, which we should be able to since nothing's really going on, and then I'll show you Matanzas Bay here as compared to yesterday, because we're right about exactly 24 hours since we've been down here yesterday. So people are out walking the dogs and just kind of chilling out, waiting for things. Here we're approaching the base of the Bridge of Lions. Just on our right is Davis Shores. That's the area that historically has some flooding issues. So we're coming up over the bridge now. We're going to take a walk up on the bridge here in just a moment too. So we'll come into downtown. The workers, you know, getting ready to secure the bridge. At some point they're going to shut these bridges down. Between 40 and 50 miles an hour, depending on the actual storm situation, they'll shut all these bridges down. You won't be able to go back and forth over these bridges. So right now we're still safe. So I'll get back with you guys in a second, right after I... All right, guys. There's a TV station there. One of our cable station or satellite stations just went by, Telemundo. Anyway, you can see the downtown, all the businesses, all the restaurants. They've got their boards up. This area historically gets, if there's a serious tidal push, wind, they usually get some water on the street here, and they're just trying to protect themselves. Like Harry's has got all the boards up, got sandbags. All the other restaurants and businesses are getting prepared for it. Okay, so we're not at high tide yet. We're almost exactly 24 hours later than that last video I did yesterday. That was 9:47. We're about 9:55 right here. We're about 3.5 hours away from true high tide. You can see where it's kind of lapping because it's pushing up. Dorian is still quite a ways away from us. This is Matanzas Bay. Way off in the distance, straight ahead, if you can see my finger, that's the inlet to the Atlantic Ocean. So I'll try to keep this thing covered so you can hear me. But that's where we get pushed from. And you got the Volano Bridge way up over there. And we have two inlets. We have the Volano area there. We have the Volano Inlet and then the Matanzas Inlet, the natural one, about 20 miles south of here. So the water can get definitely trapped inside of here. So you can see how choppy it is right now, and we got a little bit of breeze out here, but nothing crazy yet. So you can see the trees right there. I don't know, maybe 15, 20 mile an hour sustained breeze, I guess. Maybe 25, but nothing silly yet. But anyway, just wanted to kind of give you guys an update. Things are good here. Things will continue to be good as long as we all prepare and, you know, stay tight on what we're doing. I want you guys, if you're watching locally, to remain safe. Do what you have to do, but just protect yourselves, your families, and, you know, stay inside. Don't go anywhere after a point. I mean, you can come out a little bit, but just be safe and be careful. But at some point, you just need to stay home, okay? So we want to make sure that all of our family and friends stay safe, and, you know, we all get to the other side of this thing. All right, so I want you guys to have a great day, and we'll update this next video soon. Okay? Thanks.